portion of our contest. Our Toastmaster for the Humorous Speech Contest is Darren.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. The contestants have been briefed. They've drawn their cards to select their order. The order will be first, Stephen King. Second, Yoshiko Okamura. Third, Joe Krajewski. Fourth, Jeff Hodges. Fifth, Wendy Guerra. Sixth, Alexis Mason. Did I just miss that? Well, I think my number is up, but Rhonda Holdridge will be seventh. And the final contestant that you see on the list, Callie, she had the flu, was unable to attend. So to repeat that again, Stephen King is number 1, Yoshiko Okamura is number 2, Joe Krajewski is number 3, Jeff Hodges is number 4, Wendy Guerra is number 5. Well, I'm repeating. Okay, I'll slow down repeating. Alexis is number 6, Rhonda Holdridge is number 7. Number 3 is Joe Krajewski. I'll be listed as Joseph.
And number 5 is Wendy.
Wendy. 4 is Jeff. 2 is Yoko. Stephen King. Yes.
Who's number 5?
Number 5 is Wendy Guerra. We will follow the same order as you saw in the table topics. Each speaker will come up by the flag. They will come up. They will be introduced by their name, title of the speech, and name. Their speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes. After their speech, there will be 1 minute of silence after every speech. After the second contestant, we will observe silence until all ballots have been selected. With that, I'd like to bring up our first contestant, please. In case any of you have turned on your cell phones, please turn them off. Silencing is not good enough. Thank you. Our first contestant, Stephen King. Old people. Old people, Stephen King.
Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, thank all y'all for coming out here this afternoon. I turned 60 years old this year. What a downer. I wouldn't have you one of them, what you would call it, Great Depressions. So I went on over there to see one of them mind fellers. You know what I'm talking about. One of them fellas that works on your mind and works on your brain and you don't use no tools. Well, he asked me what the problem was. I said, well, I see old people. And not just out here. Since I turned 60, I see them everywhere. It's just like that brand new pickup I was looking at. Shoot, that thing was beautiful. There wasn't another one like it until I bought it. Drove it off the lot. I saw 200 of them on the way to the house. Well, you know, I never expected to make 60, I told him. My whole plan all along was to die young and leave one of them right smart-looking corpses. Well, that we was done with the bar. But you know what bothers me the most about getting old? Well, it's that rut. You know what I'm talking about, the one them old fellers are stuck in. You know the only difference between a rut and a grave? Depth. I thought old was just something that showed up one afternoon. But now, I realize it's a lot more painful, complicated, and torturous path than what I was ever led to believe. First of all, it just creeps up on you. And it never comes during the day. It only comes at night. You know what I'm talking about. You go to bed feeling all spry, and you wake up a couple hours later while your muscles is all hurting, your joints is on fire, and you're laying there praying, maybe that bladder better hold it together. And don't even get me started about the complications of trying to save your passing gas. And then now there's this thing I start thinking about all the time, the hereafter. Yeah, I get in that old truck and drive over yonder, and I wonder what I'm here after. My memory, well, it ain't as sharp as it used to be. And also, my memory, it ain't as sharp as it used to be. Well, that old mine feller, he says, you know what you need to do is you need to come up with a plan. Well, I thought that was a right smart idea, so I wrote me up a plan. Let's see. Urology, proctology, cardiology, and all them other ology. Oh, no, that ain't. Them just the fellers that I got to go see in the morning. I wrote that. Oh, there it is, right. I wrote it down on my hand so I wouldn't forget where I put it. Let's see. It said, study what makes old people tick. Oh, I thought that was a right smart plan, so I headed on over yonder to the happiest place on earth, Arkansas Walmart. Oh, heck, I was practically raised up over there. I knew there'd be a bunch of test subjects there. So I drive on over there, and I pull up in the parking lot, you see, and as far as I could see out there, you see them reserved parking spots out. You know, them ones that got that little bitty wheelchair on them. Well, at that Arkansas Walmart, they got little pictures of old people on them. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching all these old folks coming. And I think to myself, boy, I got to get me a letter off to those old higher-ups over there at Walmart Corporation. They need to get some mirrors up along the front of that store. Because it was obvious to me that them old fellers hadn't even bothered to look in the mirror before they left the house. Well, I finally find me a place to park, and then I get on in the store there, and I see half them old fellers. Well, they head on over to that place where they get them old people pills, and the other ones of them, well, they head on back to electronics. I'm thinking, electronics? Well, there might be some hope for you people yet. So I head on over to electronics, and I get on down there, and why, them hopes was all dashed to smithereens. Why, shoot, they had just gathered around one of them big old TVs because somebody had just put on The Price is Right. So I stood there looking at them old fellers, and I'm studying them. I'm thinking to myself, boy, this don't look just like the cover of the latest edition of Giving Up magazine. Well, then it come on me, that old mine feller, he was playing a trick on me. Why, he was using what we call that reverse psychology on me. But it was a good thing, too, because it made me realize I was way too young to be worried about getting old. Shoot, I don't even like The Price is Right. And then I just read this morning that them old scientific geniuses, you know, the ones I'm talking about that keep telling everybody that the world is heating up. Well, they just come out with new scientific data that says old age don't even start till you're 74. Well, 74? Well, shoot. That's my lucky number. And by the way, it's the same number I shoot every time I go out and play 9 holes of golf.
next contestant, Yoshiko Okamura. Not so friendly skies. Not so friendly skies, Yoshiko Okamura.
Over the years, air travel has got a bad reputation. Long lines, extra fees, lost bags, delays, full body x-rays, unfriendly agents and flight attendants, and to top it off, tiny bags of gourmet snacks. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I am sorry. I work for an airline. We understand passengers' frustration. But there are also always two sides to any story. Please let me tell you our side. Our frustration is dealing with passengers who either complain about pretty much anything we ask or just simply lack common sense. Here are a few examples. Sir, please turn your electronic device off or to airplane mode. I'm texting an important message to my client. This device will not interfere with the navigation system. This is a common dialogue on board aircraft. We are more than happy to receive anyone to the texting section, which is located outside of the aircraft. Here is another example. Ma'am, please return your seat back to the upright position for landing. This stupid economy seat reclines only an inch. Do you really think that 1 inch makes a difference between life and death? She's got a good point. I cannot disagree with her. Life, death, life. But we are not changing FAA regulations. Please comply with the crew members' instructions. There are also passengers who do anything to save money. An infant under the age of 2 can travel free as long as it is held by an adult. I cannot tell you how often we see a child who looks older than 2 sitting uncomfortably on mom's lap and completely blocking her view. How old are you, honey? 3? No, she's 1. Oh, 1. If you want your children to travel free, you can train them to stay quietly in your carry-on bags and stow them under the seats. This is not the only case where passengers find creative ways to save money. If you want to bring your pet into the cabin, you have to pay a fee. The fee is waived for service dogs. Service dogs are typically large dogs. They are well-trained, calm, and observant. Red flags go up when we see passengers walking to the airplane with their service dog, a chihuahua, trying to make a break for freedom. Buddy, get back here. Any dog can become a service dog if a passenger requires it for any sort of assistance, including emotional support. We have no problem with the small dogs that provide emotional support as long as they are trained as service dogs. Untrained service dogs bark constantly. They try to run away, they tear seat pockets, and as the excitement heats up, they poo! I don't know how those uncontrollable dogs give their owners emotional support. They give us emotional scars. Please pay a fee and bring your lovely pet in a cage with you. Just as service dogs can travel free, wheelchair service is also free for people who have difficulty walking. At the destination, if all agents are busy assisting others, we ask our passenger to stay on the airplane and wait for a wheelchair. Unfortunately, some people believe that they are entitled to be served first, and they yell at us for making them wait. When they finish telling us how horrible our wheelchair service is, they stand up in a huff and storm off without any assistance. I am so glad that we are able to fix your legs in flight. It's a miracle. When I see this kind of in-flight miracle, I understand why passengers complain about not using our special powers more often. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay. Portland is experiencing heavy fog, and we are waiting for the weather to improve. Excuse me. Excuse me! So, I must go to Portland right now, you know. I'm competing at a Toastmaster the Humorous contest tonight, you know. We may be able to fix your legs, but we cannot change the weather, no matter how hard we try. The next time you get frustrated with air travel, please remember our side of the story. We are punching bags to absorb a passenger's frustration. We are dog trainers to calm unruly dogs. We are also under constant pressures to improve our skills as witches and wizards to create more miracles. Because our goal is to make your flying experience as pleasant as possible. We accept those challenges. Bring it on, Mr. Toastmaster.
Another minute of silence. Our next contestant, Joe Plieski. I was raised a Cadillac. Joe Plieski.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, picture, if you will, cheap gas, 50 cents. Sleek, classy, American styling, not just me, a car. And plenty of teenage girls looking for a ride. I was raised a Catholic. Oh, sure. Sure, my parents were both Catholic, Polish Catholic. They had 9 kids to prove it. Me, I'm number 9, the last one. Because it makes no sense to have any more children when you reach perfection. My dad loved Cadillacs throughout his entire life. He loved the engineering, the details, the quality. He told me once, he said, Joe, get in the car. Okay, now close that door. You hear that? That's the sound of the Cadillac door closing. And you know that that door is solidly built and can withstand just about anything. That's good to know, don't you think? I had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't care. I was only looking at the girls looking for a ride. And when I was 16, I was ready for my first time. And my first time was in a Cadillac. Tell me, do you remember your first time? Do you? I remember mine. The feel of real leather against your naked skin. The comfort of the seats as they mold to every contour of your body. The ease of moving from first to second to third and more. The worry about lack of performance. I'm really sorry about this. They say this happens to everyone at least once in their lives. I think they have a pill for it. Of course, you have to worry about what your reputation is going to be after your first time. Or should I say, your first attempt. Dear Lord, please don't let me screw this up. Just get me through it. Of course, there's all this yelling and the screaming and the sweat. And of course, the cigarette smoke wafting in the air. All coming from my dad as I drove for the very first time in his brand new Cadillac. Then there was the junior prom. And my dad's brand new mint green Cadillac matched perfectly the mint green dress my date Joan was married. I was inspired, so inspired. Oops. I was even more inspired. We looked great. The prom was great. But let me tell you something. Dawn at the beach was never more special than in a thoroughly used, brand new, mint green Cadillac. Okay, we'll leave Joan at the beach. And we'll move on, because we have to move uptown. It's the senior prom. And senior proms require something special. And that would be Cindy. Ah, Cindy. A beautiful flower of sophisticated elegance that no boy had the courage to ask except me. Hey boys, eat your hearts out. Look at that guy. What's more, her full name, Cindy Sapolsky. She's Polish. My mom exclaimed, "Thank you, Lord! Finally, one of my 6 boys is dating a good Polish girl." And my dad, he had the entire Cadillac, completely detailed, fueled, prepped, ready to roll for the prom. He told me, "Joe, take all the time you want at the prom. Don't worry about when you come back, because after all, she's Polish." And there I was. Classic black tux. I looked awesome. I looked like James Bond, ladies. In fact, I was James Bond. Joe K, 007, licensed to thrill. And there was Cindy, the quintessential Bond girl, dressed to the nines. She looked great. We were sophisticated and elegant. And we started our prom night at a cocktail party hosted by some very dear friends of ours. Cheers! And then the formal prom. Bravo, bravo. And then the post-prom for tea and crumpets. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we danced all night long, I say. It was a memory to last our lifetime. And certainly an episode, a very snooty episode of Downton Abbey. Then there was the day my wife Karen and I got married. My dad, brand new Cadillac. We even had brand new Cadillac limos. On our way to the reception, my parents were missing. What happened to them? Boom! They were broadsided by a gigantic Fleetwood station wagon. The passenger door was destroyed. My mom flew out of her shoes and slammed into my dad. But don't worry about it. The shoes are fine. And based on the number of polka dances my mom did and the endless toasts that my father gave, they were more than fine. And you know, it got me to reflect. What do I have? Cheap gas, 50 cents. A classic car, a classy, perfect Polish man. My first time. A fast girl named Joan. I think she's still at the beach. A beautiful Polish blonde girl named Cindy. A wife who loves me today and loves Cadillacs. And there was a sturdy door that saved my parents' lives. And we had polka music and endless toasts. And that's why I always say, I thank God I was raised a Cadillac. Fellow Toastmasters.
Another minute of silence, please. Our next contestant, Jeff Hodges. Better late than now. Better late than now, Jeff Hodges.
I wasn't born with many talents in my life. However, there's always been one thing I've just been naturally good at. And that's having the ability to procrastinate in the most ingenious of ways. You see, for me, it never mattered how big or small the situation was. Pushing my procrastination skills to the maximum was always effortless. If I had homework to do, Jeff, you look tired. Why don't you do that homework after you take a short 7-hour nap? The lawn needs to be mowed every week this summer. That's hard to do, Jeff. Why don't you just wait till the whole season's over, and then you only have to mow the 7-foot-high lawn once. The plants need to be watered every day. That's hard to do, Jeff. Why not just water the plants with 30 gallons of water today, and then you don't have to water the plants for the rest of the year? Toastmasters and guests, would you believe it if I told you that procrastinating can make life just a little bit more difficult? I know it sounds crazy, right? I used to think it was so cool how well I could procrastinate because I was so good at it. But I learned the hard way how hard it made my life. It made it hard to stay organized, keep up on things, but worst of all, I always hated that I broke promises and commitments to myself. And the result of these qualities caused me to be one of the worst students all throughout my public education. And I barely managed to graduate with the GPA that wasn't so pleasing to the eyes. So I couldn't get accepted into a university. So I had to start applying for jobs. And after applying after so many jobs, the only job that I could get was being a waiter at the restaurant Hooters. It was awful. The food was greasy. I was told I had to flirt with customers in order to increase sales. And those orange tight short shorts I had to wear, unbearable. Even though I did look pretty good in them. But it didn't matter. I didn't get along with the boss. Can you believe he thought I didn't do as well at attracting the customers as the other waitresses? Our conflict continued to grow until one day my boss comes up to me and says, "Jeff, I don't like your tight working hair, and I don't like your hairy legs." I said, "You listen here, buddy boy. I've done nothing but be kind to these customers. And And this 5 o'clock shadow I got going in my legs is considered sexy in some countries. Yeah, Jeff? Well, not this country. I said, fine, I don't need this place anyways. I'm keeping the orange shorts and I'm never returning. So I never came back, even though I did buy some wings for only $8.99. I couldn't resist. And I thought to myself, I never would have been in this awful situation if I would have just kept my promises to myself. I never broke my commitments, did well in school. So I got this crazy idea. What if I quit procrastinating in life? I didn't know how to go about doing this, so I went to seek advice from the one person I could count on, my spirit animal. He prefers to go by Ricky the Raccoon, though. I met him on findmyspiritanimal.com, which is a really good website, you guys should check it out. So I Skype Ricky, and he answers in his usual plastic raccoon mask. And I say, Ricky, I tell him my situation. In his usual soothing, wise voice, he says, well, Jeff, sounds like you got yourself a little bit of an issue right there. Luckily, I got the solution for you. If you really want to get over your procrastinating issues, Jeff, all you have to do is read a little book called How to Quit Procrastinating in 83.5 Easy Steps. I said, that's a stupid idea, Ricky. How's this stupid book going to help me overcome my issues? And he said, I am your spirit animal, Jeff. After all, I wanted to deceive you. I still wasn't convinced. But after a short 7-hour conversation with him, and after he threatened to put my high school GPA scores on Facebook, I said, it's not a bad idea. But as time went on, I started to think that this book could possibly change my life. And I could use these skills from this book to eventually fulfill my dream of go to beauty school and become a hand model. And eventually make it on the cover of Toastmasters Illustrated. Maybe